Faculty unpacked the results of last night's general election during 2 debriefing sessions today. Political science professors Mark Schaefer and Michael Morgan led 2-hour-long sessions where they fielded questions from students. Topics included where the Kamala Harris campaign faltered and what the kind of impact the re-election of Donald Trump will have on the economy and America's foreign policy. Professor Morgan says these sorts of public discussions are a valuable opportunity to help students and members of the public who attend a more nuanced understanding of our politics.
Try to give them some historical context, right, to understand, if it, not 200 years ago, but in the, a few election cycles back, to see, well, this is where we got, that Trump, why he seems like a unique figure, he didn't just emerge out of nothing, that he didn't just appear in 2016 and become this phenomenon, that there were other events that led to a candidate like Trump.
Schaefer added that it's good to see college students asking thoughtful, engaged questions about the election and politics more generally.